And welcome to the Marcus and Mike Show. I am Mike. The man over here to my left is Marcus, at Marcus the Freak on the Twitter machine if you guys are new to here. Marcus, how's your afternoon going?
It's going pretty well. We finally get to can't wait here in about 3-4 hours. So we finally get to see who's going to take Zion Williamson. Is
Ooh.
it going to be the Knicks, the Cavaliers, or the Suns? I didn't realize, and I follow it pretty closely, but I didn't realize how. I knew they changed it, but I didn't know how much they changed it. I
Yeah.
thought it was more up until a couple of days ago. I thought it was more the Knicks had the best chance, but they actually don't. They have just a even chance as Cleveland and Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Have a
all at
chance.
14% chance to
Right.
which I'm not. I actually have the NBA the jump on the like in the background here, and they have a countdown. It's roughly about 3 hours and 50 minutes till the
Yeah.
lottery. If you guys are joining us on YouTube, we are starting a little bit later than usual. I had an emergency at work. But what did they say? The roof is on fire. So we couldn't quite do the show at our normal time, so we pushed it back just a tad bit here. But
Yeah.
Marcus, you alluded to the draft here, so let's just start right there. You said yesterday you think the Knicks they will get the first overall pick tonight. Since you looked further into it, do you still think they'll get the first overall pick? Like, do you have faith in that?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do. I hope it's not Cleveland. God, how many times do you want Cleveland to get the number one pick? I mean,
Well,
it's kind of ridiculous. They squandered it with Anthony Bennett a few years ago,
right.
and that wasn't so much their fault in the sense that Anthony Bennett, uh, it's between the years. He's had a lot of talent, but you got to know these things in pre-draft that this guy's not going to bring it, and he needs special attention. That's why in the NFL draft, that's why they do those psychological evaluations big
Yeah,
time
you're right.
because everybody's got talent, but what's between the ears? And I hope it's not the Phoenix Suns. God, I mean, listen, their owner Sarber, their owner. I mean, he's a piece of crap. I mean, they probably would squander that as well. I hope Atlanta gets it, or the Knicks get it. Those are my two choices.
Yeah, I'm hoping for like Atlanta as well, but I would love to see Miami Heat get it or even LA. Like, how crazy would that be to have
Yeah,
Zion or Ja Morant with LeBron James in
yeah.
LA?
Well,
That would be
that
pretty
that's a
exciting to watch.
that's an interesting topic because if the Lakers get the second pick, let's just say they don't get
Right.
Zion Williamson, um, and they're going to draft John Morant. There's absolutely no way that they don't draft John Morant. So, what do you do then with Lonzo Ball? What do you do with
Yeah.
Jason Hart, their backup point guard, who's a hell of a player? Hart for the Lakers was absolutely fabulous. To me, he was their second best player besides LeBron, and
Right.
nobody thought that kid out of Villanova. Nobody thought he was going to be that good. And Hart's amazing. So, what do you do at the point guard position? That means Lonzo Ball will be on the trading block, and that's a good news for the Lakers because then you get John Morant, and then you trade Lonzo Ball for a first round pick, a late first round pick, or a mid first round pick. Lonzo Ball's still talented enough where people will give up somewhere right around that 14 to 25 area. They'll still give their first round pickup for Lonzo Ball. And this year, especially in this year's draft, where it's not considered a super strong draft.
No,
Um,
it's definitely
it's not a
top
weak
heavy and then
draft.
back end heavy.
Yeah, it's not a weak draft. It's just an average draft, a good draft. There's a lot of value. Late first round, a lot of those guys are kind of similar talent wise. So you'd have to then trade Lonzo Ball and see where he lands if the Lakers got the number 2 pick in John Morant.
Yeah, and if the Lakers do happen to get Ja Morant, like, they have to trade Ball like instantly. You saw how big of a
Oh
basket
yeah,
case he was once his name started to float around
right.
earlier in the season here with the
Hmm.
Anthony Davis trade and
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
and I could and then the Lakers
Right,
to draft somebody at his position, like, he is a
right,
lost cause. Like, at that point,
right,
100%. So if the Lakers do get that, they need to have a mindset. They need to, first of all, establish a plan and then execute it here in the next month. Like, it
right.
has to be executed before the draft. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think they have to execute that before the draft.
Yeah, listen, and the draft really to me is two players. And what I mean by that is not necessarily, it's not a good draft. It's just you have these number one and number two talents in Williamson and Morant, and then really the draft starts at the third pick.
Yes.
Really, without the superstar, I'm going to be this unbelievable player, perennial all-star. Now you could have an all-star at the 11th pick, the 15th pick, but they would have to develop over time. You could have an overachiever at that point, but I think the first two picks in this draft, they're near can't miss in terms of not that they're going to be Tim Duncan and Allen Iverson, but that they're going to be really good players that you can probably make. They're probably going to make 5 all-star teams, 6 all-star teams, maybe not 12-time all-star.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, John Morant is a supreme talent. He's not that much of a drop-off at 6'3" of Zion because he jumps so high. He's athleticism, getting up and down the court. Right. And if John Morant shoots threes well, wow, you might have and you talked about this, Michael, you hit it on the head yesterday. You're probably going to have a player, if John Morant shoots threes, you're going to have a player that is probably the number 2 pick is better than the number 1 pick. John Morant has potential to be better than Zion Williamson long term.
Yeah, you are exactly right on that. And I might even go out to say that the 3rd overall pick in RJ Barrett might be with that level with Zion and John Morant. I was really impressed with RJ Barrett all season. The one thing that I question is that these teams up at the top, the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Suns, they are looking for a franchise player to change the culture of their team. And I don't think that is in this draft. I mean, yes, Zion is a special talent. John Morant is a special talent just as well. But I don't think they can carry a NBA team to greatness like a LeBron James did with the Cavs. No. So let's say the Cavs get the 2nd overall pick. They need to trade down, and they need to because one player is not going to build that team or change that team. They have an opportunity to get two or three picks with that 2nd overall pick to put some pieces together. Hopefully something can happen.
You know what? I completely agree with you. I normally don't agree with you get a talent like a John Morant sitting in your lap at the 2nd overall pick and then you trade that pick. But think about this. If you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you have Colin Sexton. So what are you going to do there? Colin Sexton's a hell of a player. Was a kid out of Alabama, coached by Avery Johnson, who's a dynamic talent, in my opinion. I think Colin Sexton can be the real deal. So you're gonna have 2
him in SEC play.
Yeah. So you're gonna have John Morant and Colin Sexton. Or are you gonna turn John Morant into a combo guard, a 2-man, and try to have some kind of like a little Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum action there? I don't think those two shoot as well as those players. So I might move off. You're 100% right. You might trade that 2nd overall pick and move back maybe a couple of spots and get yourself DeAndre Hunter from Virginia and then pick up an extra player, or maybe a number 1 pick next year. I think that makes perfect sense if you're the Cavaliers. Like I said, I normally wouldn't move off a talent like a John Morant, but if you have Colin Sexton, I might move on. I might not take John Morant. And then I would definitely trade because of Colin Sexton. So that's a good point by you for Cleveland to trade if they get the 2nd overall pick.
Yeah. I mean, like usually I would be in the same boat as you. Like you are a number 1, a number 2, or number 3 pick. Like you have to take the best talent on the board to elevate your team. But the Cavs are just so freaking bad. Like I think they could get Zion and RJ Barrett, and they still would not be a very good team.
Well, because
they're horrible.
Yeah, no, it would take time for those guys to develop anyway. You're right. Cleveland gets the number 2 pick. Make a long story short, trade out of that pick, but don't go back that far because I would trade because John Morant's that hot of a commodity.
Yes.
You'd have somebody come up like let's just say Phoenix is at 5. Well, Phoenix has to give me their next year's number 1. Phoenix moves to 2. Cleveland Cavaliers move back to 5, right? And then you're guaranteed at the 5th pick, you're guaranteed no worse than Jarrett Culver or DeAndre Hunter sitting staring at you in the face, and you need that player at Cleveland. And then that's why I said, even though the draft I said starts at 3, and the 2 supreme talents are at the top 2. The Lakers say they're sitting at 11 right now. If they even get to number 5, they're going to be ecstatic because the Lakers sitting at number 5, even though they didn't get the top 2, they're staring at getting Jarrett Culver or DeAndre Hunter at number 5. They're going to get either one of those 2 players, and the Lakers will be happy with that at the 5th position.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. So I'm going to throw this question your way here. Who is a
Okay.
team that has to nail this draft? Like these teams that are picking for picks later tonight here in about 3 hours. Who who is a team that has to nail this draft to elevate their team this year? Is it the Suns? Is it the Hawks? Is it the Lakers? Like who is that team?
That's a great question. I haven't even really given that too much thought, but um, I'll tell you right now, the Knicks. I told you yesterday, the Knicks haven't won a championship,
Bro.
since I was 5 months old, and so that's a pretty long freaking time, 1973. So I would say, man, this is as big a draft for the New York draft lottery tonight. This is big a draft lottery for the New York Knicks tonight that I can remember. I know in 1985 they got Patrick Ewing, and that paid big dividends for them getting Ewing. They didn't win a championship with it, but man, Patrick Ewing kept them afloat for many, many years. For about 14 years there, the Knicks had a chance to win a championship, and they had hope. But man, the Knicks have to nail this draft. I mean, they have to get this lottery situation. They have to pick the right player. I think Kevin Durant's coming, so that's huge. And tonight's going to go a long way. If Kevin Durant sees they get Zion or John Morant, that would be pretty cool for Kevin Durant in his mind, knowing that he's going to go play with one of those 2 players. So I think that the Knicks have to hit this lottery, and if they don't, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because you're going to get Kevin Durant and maybe Kyrie Irving. Let's just say they end up with the 5th pick. Like I said, they're going to add a DeAndre Hunter or Jarrett Culver to Kevin Durant and to Kyrie Irving. Having Jarrett Culver or DeAndre Hunter to go with Kevin Knox, and then Mitchell Robinson, the 7-footer protecting the rim, a kid who didn't even play, who was in the McDonald's All-American game 2 years ago and didn't even play at college anywhere. Robinson's a hell of a player, 7 foot, and he's playing for the Knicks now. The Knicks are moving in the right direction, and so I mean, hey, the Lakers. You mentioned I can't stand the Lakers, but they've got the 11th pick in this draft. If they don't move up at all, now if they move up a little bit and the ping pong balls fall their way and they get in that top 5, that is huge. Because let me reiterate, that means they're guaranteed a player like a DeAndre Hunter or a Jarrett Culver around 4 or 5, and maybe even Darius Garland. He's in kind of an unknown kid out of Vanderbilt, point guard, supreme talent. You can get him. I don't know if they would go that route because they have Lonzo and they have Hart, like I mentioned. John Morant would make sense there if they got the 2nd pick, but the Lakers kind of have to nail it too. They're having, I mean, look what's happened to them in the offseason. They're the laughing stock of not only NBA, but it seems like of sports.
Yes.
And Atlanta Hawks, let me reiterate too, that we talked about this yesterday. They're moving in the right direction. That's a team on the rise with the players that they have. If they were to get in this top 2, wow. Because they hit it with Trae Young last year.
Yep.
And they got Torian Prince from San Antonio, from Baylor Bears, Warren High School here in San Antonio. And I love the pick Kevin Huerter. He was their 17th selection last year, and he's 6'7", and for this day and age in this game, he shoots lights out. He's a hell of a shooter. And I don't know if you remember last year, Kevin Huerter, his idol was Dwayne Wade, and so last year was kind of unique. He got the jersey from Dwayne Wade, his idol.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of neat last year.
That is awesome.
When Atlanta played Miami, that was a big deal. But Atlanta Hawks are moving in the right direction. Collins, the power forward there, and if they were to get Zion, Atlanta Hawks I would make a prediction. Atlanta Hawks would easily make the playoffs.
Yeah. So let me start with the Knicks there. Every point that you made it to help your case. I'm going to flip it around and help my case here. So I don't think the Knicks have to necessarily nail this draft 100% because they do have KD and Kyrie 95% sure coming to New York. So if they get a 6 or a 7th pick, that they're still adding a good quality piece to
They
that
are.
KD, Kyrie, and Kevin Knox core that they
Yes.
have there. That will happen. So I think your daughter, my wife, could pick for the Knicks this upcoming draft, no
Right.
matter where they land. A team that has to nail the draft is the LA Lakers. This team is horrible right now. You can have the greatest player on earth in LeBron James on this team with the team that they have now, and they are pure trash. They need help in this draft. They might even want to trade away, Ball and Hart and whoever else that they were talking about trading
Yeah.
for like AD. They were ready to clean house. There is a reason why they were ready to clean house, because these guys do not fit into the LeBron James mold that he wants to make. I mean, there is a reason why they were trying to hire Ty Lue to be their coach. Is
Yeah.
because it's because LeBron James wants his mold, and none of the guys on the Lakers team right now fit that mold. You have to build that through the draft 100%. And
Yeah.
I do like the Hawks. Just like you said, they have nailed the draft. The last two years, they are
Yep.
one piece away of being a contender in that East. They made a great little push toward the end of the season. I think they won like 9 of 10 games to finish out the year. Just killing teams. So they are starting to find their own. And a second year Trey Young, I'm really excited to see what he brings
Yep.
to that Atlanta Hawks team with one extra piece. That one extra piece can come in the 8th or 9th pick, and I think they'll still do really well. Uh, I would like PJ Washington to join that Atlanta Hawks team. That might
Yeah, that
be
would be nice.
that might be a little bit of a reach.
Yes.
I think most people have PJ projected in the 20th pick or so, but I've watched PJ for 2 years now. He has improved a lot since his freshman year into a sophomore year, and he's only going to get better once the year progresses in the NBA season. Kind of
Yeah.
like what Bam did for the Miami Heat. Many people said Bam shouldn't have come out of Kentucky. He did, and
Yeah.
he's doing well in the Miami Heat. Um, Also, Miami Heat, they need to find their way. They're moving on past Wade, obviously, and they do have a pretty good young core, but it's a young average core that will be consistently fighting for a eighth seed at this point. So they need to add that probably two pieces for like that team to really project into the playoff picture.
Yeah, and then it's just to speak upon your Lakers there. A good pick if they stand pat at 11, which they probably will if the ping pong balls fall just right,
Yeah,
like the way they're normally supposed to fall. So I think the Lakers pick with the 11th pick. I look at two players there for the Lakers: Brandon Clark out of Gonzaga, 6'8", and the Lakers did something last year I didn't think they should have done. They let Julius Randle walk, and that was to sign LeBron. But man, if I was LeBron, I'd be like, hey, send somebody else.
yeah,
Julius Randle is a 6'8" power forward center that's perfect in today's game because he guards all five positions. He runs the floor. He hits shots. And that's what Brandon Clark at Gonzaga does. 6'8", shot blocker. Really, really block shots well for being 6'8". And the guy runs the floor real well, shoots it real well. This is a top talent that could be there for the Lakers at the 11th pick. And then the kind of like right after Darius Garland, kind of like the unknown talent. Darius Garland, guard out of Vanderbilt, only played 5 games, and three of those games were pretty spectacular that
yeah,
Garland played for Vanderbilt. Hell, Kyrie only played 11 games for Duke, and there Darius Garland sitting here could be a lottery pick and only played 5 college games.
right,
But Bol out of Oregon only played 9 games. And so but those 9 games were, man, they showed me a lot.
yes,
Bol is ready. He's not like his father. He's not as stiff like his dad. I mean, his dad, bless his heart. I mean, he wasn't like his dad didn't grow up Americanized with the American game and all this. He was more of a shot blocker. Manute Bol was 7'7", but his son is different than that, a lot different. His son grew up with the American game in his blood, and he's 7'2", and he can shoot from 20 feet. He can go in the post. He can drive by you. He's a good shot blocker. And the only problem with Bol is he, as a 7'2", he might develop. He he might be prone to injury as he gets older, like 28, 29,
Yeah.
because he's so tall and lanky, have those foot problems you have as like a pass, when you're 7 feet. So he might have those foot problems when he gets older, but right now I don't care about that. The kid's 20 years old. I'll put him in my program for 9 years. He
Yep.
can start having foot problems when he's 29, 30 years old, and I probably won't care at that point. Bol is a supreme talent that you should take advantage of and that you should draft in this lottery. I would be shocked if Bol is there for the Spurs at 19. I mean, I wouldn't be able to run up the card fast enough if I was a San Antonio Spurs for Bol. I don't think he'll be there. I think he'll easily be gone in the lottery. But at the 11th selection, if the Bol is there for Lakers, man, I think you might hit the jackpot. But like my first player, though, the Clark kid out of Gonzaga, 6'8", that's another one for the Lakers, the 11th pick. He can replace Julius Randle because the Lakers lost Julius Randle, giving him to New Orleans. So Brandon Clark's a really good replacement for Julius Randle for the Lakers at the 11th pick.
Yep, and there's all great scenarios. We will definitely find out more about the lottery here in, I don't know, 2 hours or like or so. But we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk more draft lottery a little bit after the break. We'll be right back, guys. And welcome back to the Marcus and Mike Show. I'm Mike. My man over here to my left is Marcus. If you guys are new here to the YouTube channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell icon. You'll get a notification every time we upload a new episode as well. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, any possible way you can find a podcast. We are on that platform. So, Marcus, before the break, we were talking draft a little bit, and teams that needed to really nail the draft. So I want to talk LeBron James and the LA Lakers just a tad bit. Let's say they do not nail this draft. They flat out dud this draft. They pick up some French guy that's 5'5" and can't shoot the basketball. Should LeBron James be up for a trade? Should he say, I want out of LA at that point?
Well, look, I'm still miffed at LeBron James for even choosing the Lakers. So I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to go back a year. He did it for non-basketball reasons. He did it for his family, his children, his wife, whatever. But he knew what he was getting himself into. He married the Los Angeles Lakers for 4 years. And so for him to want to trade, I probably would want to trade now. After I've seen everything that's happened, I probably I'd ask for a trade. I'd have to see what happens in free agent. I don't know. I'd have to see what happens in tonight's lottery and the draft. But this is all the shenanigans happening around the Lakers. LeBron James didn't sign up for this. He's probably the most stable at his position, right? He probably can do his job, LeBron James, better than anybody else in the Laker organization is doing their job right now. So if I'm LeBron, I'd be like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. But I don't know if he can just necessarily after, just kind of like quit on this thing. He knew what he signed up for. He should have never signed there. If it was really all about winning championships, he should have signed with the Rockets, Philadelphia, or San Antonio. Those are the three destinations. And if he would have signed with any of those three, right, we'd be talking about him playing tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He chose the Lakers for non-basketball reasons. Now he's got to basically he spilled his milk. Now he's got to clean it up.
You're right.
So he did this on his own. He knew what he signed up for. In a sense that this was a organization that was not very good. The organization hadn't been good. Excuse me, I'm plugging this crap in. The organization hadn't been good for 6 years. Now it's going to be going into its 7th year where it's not that good. So LeBron knew what he signed up for. And it was really disappointing when he signed with the Lakers. Wasn't for basketball reasons at all. I'll tell you right now, though, I wouldn't be shocked if he demanded a trade because, this is ridiculous what's happening there. But we'll see what happens. But we're coming back to your point. You're correct. This is crazy. What if they don't get anybody in free agency? And what if they don't hit on this draft? They take a player, like you said, nobody's ever heard of, and he's in Europe for 3 years. This would be a disaster in the making. And people love to talk about, oh, they were 20-14. They were in 4th place in the Western Conference with the same team he has now. You really think that would have lasted? Really? Don't give me 20-14. Let me know when they're 45-20 and they're like 15 games away from first seed or second seed. Let me wake me up then. Don't bring me that 20 and 14 stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
and just for the record, I was on that hype train, like when like they were 4 seed, flirting with the third seed,
yeah,
like a tad bit. I was buying into that hype. I'm like, man, these, these guys might
yeah.
be good. And then
No,
trade
Michael,
talks happened, and James got hurt. That team
I,
imploded on
I
itself.
I don't mind you buying that in when they're 20 and 14 in the moment.
Yeah,
But like, let's not talk about that. Like, in other words, the people still bringing that up. Like, if they were going to be relevant right now, they couldn't do it. They didn't make it to even 60 games and were relevant. They got to 34 games and it fell apart.
yeah.
So no, in that moment, you were correct to be on the hype train, but it just didn't last. So yeah,
I believe that hype train lasted for about 2 weeks, and then
yeah,
James's quad got hurt. I think they got to like
yeah,
23 or 24 wins, and they lost like
yeah.
15 in a row. Like I was like, man, what was I thinking when when I was buying into that?
Yeah,
But
yeah, and then also we don't know what's going to happen with Brandon Ingram. He's got like a possible blood clot issue. So I mean, let me tell you something. The best thing for the Laker organization to do would be, and I would ask if I was Rob Pelinka, I'd ask LeBron, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but man, can can you and Kyrie just call him? Like LeBron's got to be the bigger man. Bite the bullet on it. Kyrie should do it. Kyrie
yeah,
should be the bigger man. Somebody's got to quit all these egos involved and all that. LeBron's got to call Kyrie and say, "Hey, look, I messed up, man, in our relationship. I'm responsible, man. I'm sorry. I mean, you might have messed up a little bit. So what? Man, we need each other. Let's do this. Let's come together." And
Marcus,
and
you sound
and,
like
and
a woman there, man. Well,
no,
like
hey,
you're like, I'm sorry, but you were wrong too.
yeah, no, no, yeah, no, no, I understand. Hey, hey, I'm gonna apologize because, like, hey, I need these last few years to be good for me. And Kyrie was good when we won a championship together. To come to LA, let's do this, man. That's I mean, because as if you're LeBron, you have no idea what's gonna happen. You don't know who. I don't trust Palinka and Rambus and Jeannie Buss to make any correct decisions. I would have to take this initiative on my own to bring in. I'd call Kyrie. I'd see who else. I'd throw some other feelers out there. Chris Middleton. I can't talk to him now, but I can talk to him when the season ends.
Right.
Because they have enough for two max players. LeBron's got to clean this mess up. I
See,
wouldn't trust if I'm LeBron. I don't trust anybody else to do it.
yeah, see, and like that is where we agree here. Like, if I was the greatest player in the NBA right now, I would demand to get out of town right now because I cannot trust my owner. I cannot trust my vice president or GM, uh,
Right.
the operations manager. Like, if you do not have trust at the top, how do I have trust in these players like just like around me? Like your trust trickles down from the top all the way down to the bottom. Like if
Yeah.
like if you get the 11th or say they get the second overall pick and they take PJ Washington at second overall, which could be a very good possibility because they don't know their butt from their sky like half the time, like over there. So I mean, like at that point, you have to get out of Dodge. So you said, well, why don't we make up with Kyrie? Great idea. Go to New York. Uh, LA and New York have the same things to offer as far as like uh, his career off the court. He can make movies and make TV shows in New York, just like he is doing it in LA. They
Yeah.
have a great uh, they have a young core there. They're going to get a great overall pick here, more than likely. I'm going to go say at least top four. I mean, I don't see them
Yeah.
dropping below four at all. So
Yeah.
you have
It's too. That would
Kyrie.
be too. That
What?
would be too far away from my family going to New York. I don't think LeBron would do that. I think he would make a move to Texas um, or somewhere else. I
How about
mean, maybe
Phoenix?
even, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I mean, I don't think he's going to demand a trade. But I mean, he'd be well within his right to. And what's with the Vogel crap?
Yeah,
Um,
that's
getting Coach Vogel, who coached Indiana, good coach and everything. But then you signed Jason Kidd as well, just like kind of having Coach Vogel out there. And in no man's land, and since that if Vogel messes up, you have Jason Kidd waiting in the wings. What kind of dysfunctional organization is this? You should have just signed Jason Kidd to be your head coach,
Yeah.
not Frank Vogel. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, what is this organization doing?
That is kind of like a coach afraid to coach because he knows he is on a short leash. Like he
Yeah,
messes
it's
up. So
ridiculous.
like if Vogel loses 5 games in a row, is like Jason Kidd up next. I mean, just like uh,
Yeah,
that's ridiculous
yeah.
there.
It is ridiculous. And no, I wouldn't have any faith. You're right in the Lake organization. You said with the second overall pick, I think they would still be smart enough to take John Moran. But if the Lakers got the third pick, they could screw that up easily.
Yeah,
You're right.
I think you'd have to have LeBron James in that room
Yeah,
there saying, "Hey,
right.
let me write down the name. Like I understand you guys want to
Yeah,
pick, but let me write down the name just in case you don't misspell
yeah.
it." Like, guys, with that being said, we're going to take a last break here, and we're going to talk a little Warriors and Trailblazers tonight as they kick off here at 9 o'clock on the East Coast, about 5 o'clock Pacific time there, over in good old Golden State. So we'll be right back. Oh, hey. Welcome back, guys. I am Mike. Man over there is Marcus. Marcus, tonight starts the Western Conference Finals. You have Golden State taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Minus KD, he has officially been ruled out of game one and more than likely game two as well. They said, depending on how the first two games go, he might even be out the whole series. First of all, what are your thoughts on that, and who do you got winning the series?
Yeah, I mean, KD should come back because they're going to need him. If you're from the Warriors standpoint, it doesn't matter how many games. I don't care if they're down 0-2. I wouldn't even rush him back for game three if his cap isn't fully healthy. If he's not ready to go, I wouldn't even rush him back. I wouldn't risk it like that. I'd baby him. I mean, there's no, if we lose, we lose. I mean, I'm trying to keep Kevin Durant in my program, and so I'm not gonna say, hey, we're down 0-2. KD, come on, save us. I'm not gonna do that. And I guess I learned that from the Spurs. Spurs don't do that either. They don't push any panic buttons like that. They will wait till next year on stuff like that. They will not risk a player's health to win a championship, and they just won't do it. And so I think the Warriors are more like that kind of organization. That being said, looking at from the Portland Trailblazers standpoint, you better get one of these two without Kevin Durant, or you have absolutely no shot at winning this series when Kevin Durant comes back. Probably, in my opinion, he'll come back for games 3 and 4, and the rest of the series, obviously. So you better. You know what? And it might be advantageous of you to get 2-0, and then they'll bring KD back because I think it was only a grade 1. He should be ready. Let's see, tonight he should. KD should be ready Saturday to go in a grade 1 sprain. He should be ready to go on the road, Portland. Hell, I'd send him out there to Portland already. Have him working out in Portland. Get him ready. I don't know. But you better, if you're the Portland Trailblazers, you better get one of these games, if not both, because this is the time to get Golden State. They just came off an emotional series versus the Rockets. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this is the Western Conference Finals. Don't worry about the between Houston and Golden State. It's going to be cakewalk after you beat the Rockets." That's kind of what everybody's thinking. It'll just be a foregone conclusion. You beat the Nuggets or you beat the Trailblazers, which is baloney. I think the Warriors organization knows that's baloney, but the players still kind of feel that way. And Portland's coming off a game 7, but I think they're ready to go. I think. Listen, Lillard and C.J. McCollum have a chip on their shoulder about facing the Warriors and about facing Kevin Durant and the alleged best backcourt in NBA history in Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard want to put their names up there with the best of all time, and the only way they can do this is to beat Golden State Warriors in a basketball series, and they can start by doing that. They can start doing that tonight. They can start by doing that by winning one of these two games, and if not, get both these games. This is going to be fun. This is sit back and watch. This is must-see TV. And if C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard can just match Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry with points, I think Portland has a better team, a better bench, and their others are better than the Golden State others. I think that Collins, a kid out of Gonzaga who they took in the lottery a couple years ago. Myers Leonard, Rodney Hood is big time. Harkless and Aminu. I think those others will play better than your Jarebkos of the world. You know, uh, Kevon Looney's. I think Portland is deeper and better. So for the Golden State to win, Klay Thompson and Curry are going to have to outperform by a lot, not just by a little bit, by a lot, McCollum and Lillard. And I don't think they get that done in the first two games without Durant. I think Portland wins game one. I think Portland wins game one tonight without Kevin Durant. And the reason I'm saying that is they better win game one, because if Golden State goes up 2-0 and Kevin Durant comes back for game three, and it's over. It's a wrap. And I normally don't say that, Michael. You know me. We've been doing these playoffs. Just because a team goes up 2-0 doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the series.
Right.
You just hold serve. You come back and you win games 3 and 4. But this is different now because Golden State is that super team. And without Kevin Durant, you better get one of these two, because if you go down 0-2 and they get the third best player in the NBA back behind Giannis and Kawhi Leonard, think about that for a second. They're getting the third best player in the NBA back for game 3, and they're up 2-0 already. It's done for Portland Trailblazers. They will not win this series.
Yeah, you are 100% right on that. And a perfect game to steal in a series is game one, because usually the other team is they're a little tired. They're like, oh, we're home, we can relax. And Golden State has had that extra day of rest versus Portland. Portland doesn't have any quote rust to knock off their team. So Portland definitely has to win game one. And I believe Hood is still questionable. They don't know if he's playing yet, if I remember correctly. He tweaked his ankle or
his knee. He has a bone bruise in his knee.
Yeah, there you go. He is still questionable. He only had 6 points in their last game versus the 27 that he had in the previous game. So he definitely has to show up and be ready to play. The one thing that the Warriors have going for them is Steph Curry was a Finals MVP before KD came. Steph Curry was a great player, a top 3 player before KD came. He has since taken a back seat, since to KD, allowing him to shine and just picking up the slack where needed. That showed in the first half of the Rockets game, a little bit in the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter, he found his stride. He found the Steph Curry of old. And as a Golden State Warriors fan, that's got to be exciting. Yes, KD's out, but Steph Curry is picking the slack up, picking right back up off where he left in 2015, or I believe before KD came. So Portland, this is the issue. Portland has to play great to beat Golden State. Golden State can play good to above good to beat Portland. So if Portland plays good and Golden State plays good, Golden State's going to win 9 out of 10 times. With that being said, I'm picking Golden State in 5 games in this series. I don't think Portland has enough for them. They might get a game 3 or game 4 at home. That's it. Kind of a gentleman's sweep, just like you referred to the Milwaukee Boston series this past week. I just think Golden State is going to flex their muscle, and KD's going to sit this whole series. He's going to be well over 100% when the finals come, and it's going to be lights out for Milwaukee or Toronto in the finals.
Wow, so you think even if Kevin Durant set up this whole series, you still think Warriors in 5, huh?
Yep,
wow.
I do.
Okay, I would take the opposite of that. If KD didn't play the entire series, Portland better win. They're better equipped to beat the Warriors than the Rockets were.
Yes.
And so Portland, and I would pick the Nuggets and Portland. It would be a bad matchups for Golden State if KD didn't play. That's not to say Golden State wouldn't be great, because they are great. But if KD didn't play at all in the series, I would pick the Trailblazers in 6. And this, you can write this down. Anybody listening, write this down. The best 5 on the court for the Portland Trailblazers to beat the Golden State Warriors are obviously McCollum and Lillard in the backcourt. But Rodney Hood is really important. Rodney Hood, Seth Curry, and Zach Collins from Gonzaga. 6'11", can shoot it, rebound. Tough kid, even though he's slight body. Collins is really tough. I know Cantor's pretty good, but I don't see Cantor at the end of games there. So it's Collins, Hood, and Seth Curry, not Curry's little brother, Stephen Curry's little brother, and the backcourt of C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. Those are the best five on the court at the end of games because you can't leave anybody.
Yep.
Okay, so at the end of games, you're gonna have if you double Lillard, they throw that ball around the corner. Collins can hit a three, Rodney Hood hits threes, and Seth Curry hits threes in his sleep. So I expect Portland to take game one tonight. And I didn't even mention Harkless and Aminu, but I don't think those are really good defenders. Where Harkless and Aminu will come into play is when Kevin Durant plays, because Harkless and Aminu are two players that can actually almost look KD in the eye and not be so. They're not 6'3", they're not 6'4", they're like 6'8", 6'9" guys that can guard Kevin Durant. Kind of. They can't stop Kevin Durant, obviously, but Harkless and Aminu can make things difficult for Durant and have him go like 11 for 30 instead of 11 for 18. So Harkless and Amino will be better served when Kevin Durant comes back in the series. But right now, I'm looking at a small ball lineup for Portland beating Golden State, with the exception of Collins, who's 7 feet, but Collins can shoot it. He's not a 7-footer that's like he's not Clint Capella. He's not Montrezl Harrell. He creates a lot of space too, and plus he can get down there and rebound. He's a tough kid. So Rodney Hood is really important. It'll be interesting for me to see if Rodney Hood plays tonight, because they really needed Rodney Hood to beat the Nuggets, because you needed that third outside shooter. They took Harkless and Aminu off the court and put in Rodney Hood and Seth Curry because you needed a threat around the perimeter for the Blazers to beat the Nuggets. You're going to need the exact same thing to beat the Warriors. So that signing, that trade getting Rodney Hood a couple of months ago paid dividends in the Nuggets series, and I think it's going to pay big dividends if he can go in the Warriors series. Now, if Rodney Hood can't go, that's going to be trouble for the Warriors, because that third scorer, Rodney Hood can score the best of them. Matter of fact, we were just talking about the NBA draft a minute ago. R.J. Barrett and Rodney Hood are really similar.
Yep.
They get their shot off. They're good shooters. They're very skilled. They're very multidimensional. And that being said, Rodney Hood's been kind of a disappointment in his career because people expected Rodney Hood. He has the talent to be an all-star, just like R.J. Barrett does. But Rodney Hood has not gone to his full potential. That's why he's been traded a few times. But in spurts, some of these guys that had the potential to be all-stars, they show up. And Rodney Hood showed that he could be an all-star in the last series. He showed every bit of why he was a top selection when he was drafted. And so Rodney Hood, if he can come back in this Warriors series, will be big time for the Portland Trailblazers to beat the Warriors. And that starts tonight. Like I said, I'm picking the Portland Trailblazers to win tonight without Kevin Durant, because and also for the psyche, Michael, think about this for a second.
Yeah, you're right.
If Portland goes down and they can't beat the Golden State Warriors without Kevin Durant, they know they can't beat them then.
Not a chance.
Yeah. So they have to beat them tonight without Durant, and Thursday night in Game 2 without Durant.
So are you picking State in this series?
No, see, there's a thing. I think KD. Listen, here's how I think it's going to go. I think the Trailblazers are going to split, and in this series, I think they're going to get one of these games. I think it's going to be tonight, though. I think they lose Game 2, but it's going to be a split. However you go, I think KD comes back in this series, and I see Warriors in 7. Once KD comes back and Rodney Hood comes back or whatever, this is going to be a heck of a contest. But I think these games are going to be in that 120 to 130 range and all that type of stuff. And the Warriors will eventually end up winning in 7 because of Kevin Durant coming back. Now, you just mentioned if Kevin Durant doesn't come back at all, Trailblazers in 6.
All right. So you guys heard that, and I'm picking Warriors in 5 with or without KD. I just think they have too much to offer from Seth, Clay, and Draymond. Also, Boogie Cousins might make an appearance in this series as well. He has been cleared to do practices, so we'll see if he is able to make it back this series. I like it all. But guys, join us tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern time. Same time, same place as always, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.